what can Tony Soprano teach you as a business owner in regards to connecting to your audience? Now, I have been binge watching The Sopranos because Hulu is geared to take it off of their programming, I think, tomorrow. So, yeah, that's going to be kind of a bummer. So I've been watching a lot of episodes, and while I've been watching that, I've actually been kind of thinking a lot as to why I like that show so much. And, apart from just kind of having an interest in the whole like crime family mob boss stuff, like a lot of people do, a lot of people, really, myself included, relate to the character of Tony Soprano quite a bit. And why is that, right? I mean, he's a terrible person. He kills people. He runs a crime family in New Jersey, right? So there's not like a ton of redeeming qualities for this guy, right? So why would we tend to side with him, right? And that's one of the beautiful things about the show, and the creator David Chase and a lot of the other writers, what they really nailed is the fact that so many people in the audience connect to this guy who on the surface is a terrible person, but they see a lot of kind of his good qualities and his good traits, and even just kind of some of his funny quirks. So like in episode 1, there are a bunch of ducks that fly into his swimming pool, and then you have this like mob boss guy who's like playing with the ducks, and he's super obsessed with them, feeding them, basically raising them until they fly and then leave. And then once the later on, and I think it might be the next episode, the ducks actually leave his swimming pool, and he actually passes out and has a panic attack because the ducks leave him, right? Which, there's a little bit of like deeper meaning to that too, but that's just kind of one example. Other examples are just like him singing along to music in his car, like a lot of us do, right? Cracking jokes, being a little stinker, even just being like an overall dad, right? Just being a person that people people grew up with. Like I was like, yeah, he does some things that reminds me of my dad, right? So anyways, let's make this about business. So okay, why does this matter? Well, I think a lot of times businesses miss the mark because they tend to hide away who, like, the founders, or the people who started the company, right? Like they kind of hide behind their business or their logo, and they don't really show like kind of who they are to the people, or even just kind of providing some insights that are maybe a little bit more personal, but that I don't think are really like a bad line to cross, especially in the current format when we have AI that's doing a lot of content creation, and that's kind of taking away humanity. It's really trending now for people to just insert who they are into their work. And that's really kind of what I want to kind of affirm here. And that's why, tying it back to Tony here, Tony was a different character from a lot of prior ones where you would have just had, yeah, here's a crime boss, here's the crime boss killing people, here's the crime boss partying, right? But say like Tony Montana, right? Like if you look at, say, that character, totally different from Tony Soprano. Like if you look at Tony Montana, he's like ridiculous and flashy and egotistical and careless. And while yes, Tony also portrays a lot of those qualities, I mean, there's also a scene of him going through his separation with Carmela where he's like sleeping on the air mattress and like sleeping in the back of like his office, right? Like, it's like his life isn't always flashy, and it shows that. It kind of shows that he's a regular dude who has kids, goes to therapy, and yes, he likes to do mafia related activities on the side, right? But I mean, that's all part of the fun. But I think, just again, getting back to the business side of it, it's important to kind of show like who you are, what you do, what's important to you, and because that really kind of connects back to your business, right? Like, of course, like, let's answer the elephant in the room here. We started businesses to get paid, right? We want to make money. We want to be profitable to a degree, right? But like, even just kind of showing like, hey, like I do this so I can, be like providing for my family, right? Or so I can travel and like finance a lifestyle that like I always wanted to have, right? So you're just showing those personal insights, and kind of really showing that you are authentic is what's really going to sell. So again, Tony Soprano, as far as how that character was written, he's an authentic dude. Yes, like there's the other elements to his character, to his behavior, right? But they show off his authenticity, which is why audience members are always torn, like watching the series, because you're thinking, okay, should I really enjoy watching a show about a crime boss, right? Well, like, should I really emphasize with someone that's, a kind of a, many ways a crappy husband, crappy father, he kills people, right? Like, should I really emphasize with someone like that? But you're just like, at the same time, you're like, oh, he likes ducks. That's cute, right? You're like, oh yeah, that is a good song. I like that song too, Tony. Or just some of his little wisecracks and his silly little quirks, or like when he goes in and like raids the fridge for prosciutto, and when he gets all like pissed off about not having smoked turkey in the house. Like those are just like little things that just make you kind of love the character, right? So again, just to summarize, showing off who you are is never a bad thing, right? You don't want to, now again, like you don't really want to do it too much, like where you're making content about you and not your business. But showing who you are is going to connect with your audiences better than just kind of hiding behind your branding all the time. And that doesn't always have to mean that you're like, hey, I'm going to make like a reel about me riding a bike or something like that, right? Like that, maybe that doesn't relate, but even just doing like day in the life type stories, like show yourself out at like a location. Just show yourself, hell, show yourself riding a bike one time, just like show something that you like to do. Trust me, it'll connect to people, because your audience, even though like they're looking for your service, they also probably have similar interests as you do, right? They're also still people at the end of the day. And, so are you, right? So you just got to connect to them on that human level. Just kind of like how Tony, even though he's an insane character, he still connects to our humanity by just his characteristics, his quirks, his one-liners, all of his good stuff. So again, that is how Tony Soprano can help you as a business owner connect to your audience. See you guys.